What's up, my
Welcome
sexy?
back.
Oh shit!
Oh, go tell them.
Welcome back to It's Not Daddy, It's Papa.
Yes, it took
My
us 7 times to say that correctly.
my sexy viewers. I love you so much.
Do you know why your mic's not picking up as loud as it is? Because I'm speaking and
Whispering. Well, I was just trying to
you're
seduce the
like
audience.
seducing. You're like,
Yeah, I love you all
hey,
so
hey,
much. I'm gonna give
sexy
you all
babe, bring the mic
such a
closer to
kiss.
you if you're whisper. Do ASMR
Our camera's frozen.
again.
It's been frozen.
Bro, it's been literally half a second. You're back.
This ASMR.
Today we're gonna eat rainbow cookies, and we're gonna talk about our back.
Okay, so
So
basically, he wants me to talk louder. I'm gonna project louder.
So this is episode 6. It's gonna be a little bit of a different episode. Damn, bro. Okay, this is episode 6. It's gonna be a different episode. It's gonna be shorter. We're testing out.
Oh, the cookie floated to the top.
We're testing out new shit. He put cookies in his coffee. I got less coffee. He hate me. Um,
Yeah.
what time is it? It's podcast time.
Oh, hell yeah. It's podcast time.
This is gonna be shorter because we felt like it. We want to see maybe the 20-minute episodes are shorter, do better. Who knows? I'll just ramble. Sometimes experimentation is great.
Experimentation. Ooh.
What do you think about experimentation? Would you ever experiment?
I would experiment
The look of pondering is crazy.
not with other genders. But my experimentation has gone with like different subgenres of women. And to me oh god. Like you gotta classify people in subgenres. Like would you put like yes, we're the same
He's
gender.
all for classifying people.
Oh, I don't love the way that was worded.
Yeah, let's try again.
You need to try again. You're the one who said it.
That's what you said. You said I don't love to classify.
Subgenres of humans. So think about, oh, I don't love that either. Think about
You're
like,
digging a hole for yourself.
and I'm gonna make
Screaming into the void. You're going into the void.
I'm gonna bury myself in the void. Just fucking.
Cancel culture be hitting your ass real hard right now.
I'm sorry, that was so unprofessional.
Good. This is why we have to record it each episode
Oh,
17 times.
That I could say.
Okay.
Essentially, what I was trying to say before I was rudely interrupted by that sound that came out.
Before you were rudely interrupted by yourself.
Oh, yes.
We back.
Sometimes we're our own worst enemies. I mean, like, I was trying to say something, and that noise just rudely interrupted me. That noise came from my vocal cords, and I noticed the theme in my life is most of your problems are an inner monologue that you internalize too much. Like, did I need to make that sound? No. Moaning into this microphone was a form of self-sabotage.
Or
Self-satisfaction.
Yeah.
When the world doesn't satisfy you the way you're supposed to, what do?
Do you wank off into the void?
It sounds like what
This
you
sounds like a
did
masturbation
by
advertisement.
giving your disembodied voice, like by giving your inner voice that sound to escape. What happened was that you wanked off into the void. That was your version of that. It was your self-fulfillment. It fulfilled you. It made you happy.
I found
It made you full. It made the void full.
You could fill the void for so long, and then after a while, you can't run from it anymore. So I was actually just subconsciously thinking about while you were talking to me. When I go home tonight and all the distractions are out of the way, I take my headphones out by
Put them
myself in my
on.
room or put them on or whatever it is. How do you deal with yourself at the end of the
Oh, I totally thought that was not where this is going.
Oh, I was
This
just
whole
talking about
episode's like fucking satirical.
how do you deal with that? Like I was just thinking about like when, you know, when we pack up and we put our microphones away, when he goes and does his thing and I go home and I do my thing. How do I cope with myself? I don't know. I was just thinking like I
That you just sat here and did this?
no, not that I did, just like
Oh.
life in general. Like what do you do when you have time to think? I don't, you know what I mean? Like I don't look forward to time to think. I have time to think later. I'm not a big fan of that. What do you do with your time to think?
Distract yourself by doing something else. You know, you like playing guitar. Sit there, play guitar.
When I play the guitar, I just start thinking about like everything that went wrong.
So, like, learn, like, distract yourself, do better at, like, learn new things on the
He's
guitar.
like, get better at it. You
Get better at the
Imbecile.
guitar. Put your effort into that.
I'm pretty damn good
Put
at it.
your You are, but you could always be better. Do better.
I
We
think
ended
I
our
have a hot.
episode with do better.
I have a hot take with music that sometimes you cap out.
No,
And I don't think I've capped out as a person, but I think a lot of times you do cap out. Like I don't expect who's you name a good musician.
you like John Mayer.
I don't think he's ever gonna get better at the damn guitar. He's so fucking good at it. He's never gonna come out and play something that I'm like, oh, he did get better throughout his career. I think now he's at the pinnacle of his career where he's just not. I don't think
It's
he's.
because he stopped trying because he achieved the success that he wants to achieve
I
and
don't
doesn't
know if
want
he
to keep
stopped
going.
trying. I mean, I
Because
think
I hate the fact that like there's a point where it's like you reach your peak.
I
I
think
don't
he's
fuck
so
with that.
vocally he gets better and better, but I think
It doesn't matter. That's a part of getting better.
I guess so. I could learn how to do shit like that.
That's part of it. You know, singer-songwriter genre
Yeah,
involves singing
I
and
guess so. I should
songwriting.
learn how to do that. Songwriting I could do, but I'm not the best at it. But I guess yeah,
I
learn
don't
how
know
to do
why. I
something.
really want to write lyrics to songs. I feel like I would be
You
good at
probably
it.
could. You have to start writing poetry and then
But I
you
think
turn
I
it to
would be
lyrics.
good at that because I feel like I'm good at. I don't know. I want to try that. I just don't know how. Do we release a song for It's Not Daddy,
I
It's
could help
Papa?
you.
Do we make a song? Why
Oh
not?
my God, why don't I take my Matteo guitar shit marketing and
And
just put it on our damn
why
channel?
don't we record? Why don't we release a song on behalf of It's Not Daddy, It's Papa?
I'm down. Hell yeah.
I'm so down.
What the fuck?
We'll
Let's
have
do
to
it.
think of something,
Yeah, we could do it.
but we could so do it. We'll shoot a whole music video.
Yeah. When he
Why don't
said
we
he
do
wants to
it?
write music, something I was just thinking about when you said that was we should
Hmm.
so do that. But what I was thinking about is the fact that songwriting, poetry, and conversation are all three things that are linked. If you know how to
Hmm.
have a conversation and you know how to use your words, you know how to write poetry. And if you know how to write
Absolutely.
poetry, you know how to write a song.
Absolutely.
And something I was thinking about is like, where do you, if that's something that you're passionate about, where do you find communities of people that are like-minded? So I was thinking about branching out. 2025, I want to branch out more. And I was thinking about everybody that I know that managed to branch out successfully and grow their wings and flourish, found communities of like-minded things. So, my brother, I brought him up in the last episode. I'm gonna bring him up again. He found a lot of his friends in his community. He likes speaking. He speaks numerous languages, like
Hmm.
two and a half.
Yeah.
But like through the romance languages department of his, some like clubs and stuff like that. And I'm like, where do you find
These people.
like I was thinking, what am I passionate about? And when I realized what am I passionate about, I'm passionate about words and language and communications.
Yeah.
Where do you find those people? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like how do
We're
you
both
that's such a
really.
subgenre.
Yeah.
Emotional intelligence is not
And
is
we're
so
both
big.
really, I feel like, creative people. And I
Hmm.
feel like we definitely, why not? Why don't we make a goal with our viewers, with our camera? We actually, like, the fun thing is that, like, we formed this weird parasocial
Relationship
relationship
with our own
with
viewers.
our own viewers because we never see anyone. We just see this camera. So the camera is in self-insert viewer. Yeah.
There's a John Mayer lyric.
Hmm.
It's the outro to his song Gravity.
Yeah.
And it says, "Keep me where the light is," and it just repeats. And on the original track, he has Alicia Keys
Hmm.
doing background vocals.
Yeah.
And the song, I don't remember the words that well, but it's
Hmm.
gravity is working against me. Gravity has taken better men than me. How can that be?
Hmm.
Just keep me where the light is. And your gravity could be anything that is working against you or pulling you to the
Uh-huh.
worst version of yourself
Yeah.
or a lesser version of you. And everybody has their own gravity. That's what I like about that song. Some people listen to that and they think drugs. Some people listen to that and they think any type of self-destructive thing that brings you down.
Hmm.
What is your gravity?
I don't
What
know.
is your thing that you find yourself working against to keep yourself, quote unquote, where the light is?
I think myself.
No,
Like,
no, for everybody, it's yourself. What
I
part of
think.
yourself is it, though?
What do you mean?
What part of yourself is your gravity? Like, there's got
By
to be
by
what
part.
trait, what thing, it's got to be something that you can pinpoint.
No, I think it's always like willingness to. Are we? Oh, no, we're not.
No.
Is it like willing? I think it might be willingness to do more. I don't know. I'm always like wanting to do more. I think that's a big thing because it's like sometimes you just can't.
Yeah, I
But I
can see
always
that
want
for
to.
you.
But I think we should set ourselves a goal because we've done this like 6 times now, and it's kind of become a like inside meme of like rebranding and whatever. But this
Okay.
is our own personal thing, right? It's our own personal show, whatever. If we want to write a song and release it for It's Not Daddy, It's Papa, and
Let's
make
do
a
it.
whole big ass music video and everything,
Hell yeah,
why
let's
not?
fucking do it. Why not?
Who gives a fuck? This is our creativity, and we have people that want to be part of this larger community, why don't we
Make a community.
create the community? Like, why don't we do what we want to? Like, we're both
If we
creative
come up with
people.
a
We have
solid
creative
concept, I know a lot of
projects.
people. I have a lot of like mutuals and people that really want to work on creative projects
Mm-hmm.
that just have never aligned with this, so I've never reached out to them. But if we need people who can edit, oh, what the fuck? I know, like filming, like people who make small films. I don't know why I haven't asked for their help yet.
But
People who like filmmakers. All right,
Mhm.
but
like, why don't we like write a song, shoot a music video, and release it for it's not daddy, it's papa. Why not?
let's do
Why
it.
don't we put out our own creative projects through
There
this?
are okay, yeah. Use it as a creative field. That's
Mhm.
wonderful. I really like that.
Like, especially if it has to do with words and conversation and things like
That's
that.
really good.
It's all very much interlinked, you know?
Yeah, I like that. Something that yeah, all the arts they blend really well. So you like theater,
Mhm.
I like music and poetry. And reading. And you obviously like other things in
Yeah.
theater. I kind of just like I made it diminished his creative. I was like, oh, you just walking like I didn't mean it that way. But you know what I mean? They all intersect in different ways. And something interesting that I found is JP Sachs, who we always mention,
Mm-hmm.
and our camera is frozen. But he said that before he releases a song, he takes it to a poetry reading
Yeah.
event and reads it out as poetry first because all the arts generally are the same. You know what I mean? They
Mhm.
all blend in different ways. So yeah, I think to have an outlet for art in
Why
general
not?
would be really cool.
Why not? Why don't we use this asset? I don't know. I've
I
been
lo-
writing. I haven't written poems in a hot minute,
I know you used to,
but
didn't you? I kind
I
of have
did.
vague memories of
I was a finalist for the New York City Youth Poet Laureate years back
fucking love
now.
that.
Years back now. Like, I am pretty good at it. I feel like I just haven't done it in
You should do
forever.
it. It's such a
But I
great
should
outlet. I
do.
try to write poetry every night before I go to bed.
I do need to like pull out a notebook and just start writing
Or
stuff.
use your docs on your phone.
What?
I have Google Docs on my
I
phone.
don't fuck with that though. I don't know. I use notes for a lot of things.
Hmm.
Like, it's jam packed. I don't fuck with it though. I really like putting it like pen to paper, putting it out like that.
Do you think that ideas come out better on paper or on your phone for you?
I can get distracted by other things on my phone,
Hmm.
and that pulls me out of the moment. Versus if I put my phone away and sit there and just write something,
Yeah.
it'll come out better. So I think we definitely need to do that. We need to write a song or something.
Yeah, hell
Um,
yeah.
and we both like similar genres of music. I don't know. I feel like I like some stuff that's a little bit more poppy,
Yeah,
but
mine is more like folky, but it's the same thing.
it's still the same
Like
idea.
when you break it down, it's really just the same
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, no, I love that. On the topic of poetry,
Hmm.
I write, like I said, I try to do it every night before I go to bed.
Yeah.
My thing with art too is it doesn't have to be good to be good. Like you know what I mean? Like
It's whatever you want it to be.
whatever you want it to be. Like Edgar Allan Poe would look at my poetry and say, "This guy cannot write for shit."
But Edgar Allan Poe writes different
He
poems.
writes differently. Sometimes a
Yeah.
journal entry, like it's whatever you make of it. That's a beautiful thing. Sometimes a journal entry counts as poetry. And when I do my writing for the day, sometimes it's just a journal entry and it doesn't rhyme and it doesn't have to be that great.
Hmm.
I put it out there
Yeah.
online and then I'm like, okay,
I like telling story. My big thing is
mm,
always telling stories. Like, that's probably the biggest. Like, if I were to describe what I like doing as part of theater, is the ability to tell a story.
storytelling, yeah,
And that's why I really like music with lyrics, and that makes sense. That's like my biggest pet peeve with music is that a lot of music doesn't tell a story,
right.
you know? But like, you can use a story to tell emotions, Like, you can, like, there was a poem that I wrote about, um, oh, what the fuck is this guy's name?
Do you want to read it?
What? I don't have it on me. I
We
don't
could read
remember.
poetry on air right
We
now.
could, but I just don't have it on me. I
Oh,
don't remember what it was. But you know the guy in Greek mythology that put on Icarus
oh,
with the
flew
wings?
too close to the sun.
Flew too close to the sun,
I too have Icarus inspired
right?
poetry. I love this. And
I
I don't even know this about him, so this is cool.
You actually have. We read this out.
Years ago, I forgot.
We just weren't in
Mm.
the right headspace.
Oh,
We read this out
oh,
in my bedroom
drunk poetry is something
in
else.
wild headspace. But um it's about his dad, Dantalus, I think that's his name. And like how does it feel for him to be the one who had told him to, like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, and he does it, and like, how do you cope with that grief now after knowing that this was going to happen?
Flying too close to the sun. Is that what
Well,
we're talking
yes,
about?
because he told him in the
Not to.
myth What?
He told him not to?
He
Because I
told
didn't know
him
enough
not
about
to.
the okay.
He keeps telling him not to, and that it's dangerous, and then it's wrong. And he sees him succeed, and as a father, you would be proud. And then you see your son die after knowing. I don't
That's
know.
good. You gotta resend that to me.
I have to resend it, but it's a poem about. It's short. It's really short. It's like maybe like 10 lines.
Right.
Um, but I think like stuff like that. I'm like that could be a
Because so
really
many I
cool
think
because
that's
you could use that. I think it's like it's a expression of grief, but it also is a story. Like the
right.
story of Icarus itself is a story that you. I like stories that explain emotions. You know.
I love that. Also, I mean, I just love this idea of being authentic in general.
Hmm.
When I was younger, I hid. We had this in another episode. We're talking
Yeah.
about Staten Island, my boy Swag. I really hid the more like fluffy,
Hmm.
sensitive part of myself. I really did. And as I get older, I find that like the only way to start and like you find yourself lonely when you start being more authentic. Is what I've been doing the last couple of months, like really embracing that side of myself. You find yourself like, oh fuck, I haven't met my people. But I think if you stick with it and really just start to push this art out there, you'll find
Yeah.
your people. I'm gonna read, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
I'm gonna share a poem.
Okay.
Keep them entertained while I look for it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna share a poem and I'm gonna ask you what you make of it
Okay.
because I also like poem. It's not the best. Nobody
Hmm.
expects this to be a good poem. I wrote it when I was down bad. I don't remember what was wrong with me that day, but it's a really fucked up poem. It's not the best.
I'm gonna say something that like um I don't know because art is so subjective, but I really like things that have a story, and I really
Yeah.
don't. I mean, not that it's not good. I
Mhm.
just don't like stuff that doesn't explain a story, right?
Okay,
That
mine
doesn't
is
have
always
like a
so vague. It doesn't
like
even have most of
yeah.
my poetry
I
doesn't have.
think you can be vague and
Mm,
still explain a story. You know, like the Ernest Hemingway
I
short
love it.
story
Yeah,
with like the
I love him. I don't know.
what the fuck is it called? It's literally 4 words. It's use baby shoes for sale or something.
Yeah,
Baby shoes for sale.
yeah,
That's what it
baby.
is. Forward story. That is so interesting, and I really like stuff that does that. Is it frozen?
Yes.
It's okay. And I really like stuff that
Because
does that,
why are they for sale? You know what I mean? Like
right?
that's the
There's a
I love
larger
that.
story
Yeah.
behind it. So you could be very vague until still share a story. And I don't know. Like I know you're gonna read out a poem, and I know it's gonna be super vague. So
It's he
I
knows
wanted
I'm
to,
also vague as a human, so it's like whatever. I like to leave like I don't know if you guys know this app CoStar. You
yeah,
obviously have it.
I fucking
I
yeah.
hate it as I get older because it's so vague. Like it gives you daily astrological life advice. So it'll be
Yeah.
like, don't swim with chairs today.
It's like, what the
It's
fuck does
so
that mean?
vague, or like the eels are coming to get you. And I'm making fun of my own poem with that. But this is not a good poem. Nobody think it is a good one.
Hmm.
But it's definitely not my best work. I was just thinking about it because of how vague it is.
Sure.
All right, here we go. There's a lake not too far from here that consumes almost all that it touches. Birds, dogs, fish, kings, queens, and even you and me. They will feel a drop of the lake's touch and will tell you they know how it feels to be sinking under with the fish and the eels. But you know they have not suffered quite like you, nor have they done it with such good taste. Once the water is above your knees, you forget your own name. Once it's above your waist, you forget your own face just the same. You'll try to hold on to the moldy branch that promises you fresh air, but you'll only scrape your hands. You'll feel your youth and your feet slip at the bottom of the lake into its grimy sands. You'll remember being young, saying you'd never sink that low. Then again, you hadn't met the lake yet, how would you know? Slowly you realize you don't need the distraction that are the branches, you need a raft. As time passes, you'll see yourself as nothing more than a rough draft. Vague as fuck, but I am proud of that one,
Hmm.
kind of.
I do really like that one. I do. It does have a story in it. I don't know. I keep going whenever I think of poems
Hmm.
and stuff like that. My biggest, I guess, like inspiration for stuff like this is like myths and like folklore because I
Yeah.
think that like right, like this is a story that may or may not have happened. Whatever. It honestly don't matter.
Mhm.
But it's a story that people keep retelling because it showcases emotion. That's what myths
Yeah.
are. Like the idea of it is because it shares a, a emotional piece. And when I heard this, the thing that I started thinking about was I I don't know if it's Minos or Midas. You know who I'm talking about?
Midas touch where everything turns to gold, but
Yeah,
then it's like fuckery. It's like not good.
that seems very similar in a sort
Well,
of.
what do you make of it? Because I read it really quickly, so it
Mhm.
was difficult. But like, what would you say like? It's about a
Well,
lake.
okay. Question for
Hmm.
you: what is the prominent emotion that you're trying to display for the poem?
Grief,
Grief of
Con your sense of self.
sense of self. Okay,
Yeah, your sense of self. You're saying because well, let's break it down now.
let's break it down now, y'all.
He asked me a good question. You this is the one line. You feel your youth and your feet slip at the bottom of the lake.
So the point of the vagueness here is that a lake could be anything for anyone. It's kind of when I was talking about gravity with John Mayer, like what is your lake?
Uh-huh.
And there's a lake not too far from here that consumes almost all that it touches. So it's, like my lake for me, not
Uh-huh.
to say this on air, but it's depression. It's getting older and there's a hint of drug abuse, but that's not for me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like that's really not my thing. Whatever your branch is that you try to hold on to get out of a lake
Yeah.
is your distraction. For me,
Mhm.
it's like my hinge prompts.
Yeah.
But like, shit like that. What was your original question again before I went, oh, what was
But
the
what's the predominant
it's
emotion that
grief.
you're trying to
It's
display?
grief and
You
loss.
see,
And yeah.
what I would like from my perspective, I was like
Yeah.
say I would like the story that this reminds me of is the story of King Midas and the Midas touch.
Right.
Because his thing is that when he touches his daughter to hug her, she turns to gold.
Yeah.
And it's like he has everything he wants, but also nothing he wants.
Yeah.
So although it's not like written that the emotion he's feeling is grief, like this is where you put your own interpretation on these things. It's like I think that there's a emotionality in there of grief.
Yeah.
And I think the lake is also really cool because you have this metaphor of sinking.
Yes.
And I mean, I don't know, I really like envisioning things through the lens of what other people have written
Mm.
about. So like what excites me about that poem is like now to develop it further, it's like could you I don't know. Part of me is like, it's like, is wherever the hell King Midas is it by a lake? Is there like a you know?
Right.
I like
Yeah.
thinking like let's I don't know. I like thinking through the metaphors of other things of like stories that
Yeah.
people know because it's a really like the King Midas
Connecting
story
way.
is
Everybody knows that.
very
Yeah.
accessible and this emotion is very hard to describe, but it
Mhm.
exists in other forms of media, you
It
know,
does.
in timeless media like the King Midas story.
Also
It's not
think of
like a
Sisyphus.
TikTok. Yeah.
Sisyphus with his rock is very similar to me and my lake.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I understand what you mean by a distaste for slightly vague poetry.
Yeah.
I think there's room for both. I
I
so
do think
agree.
there's room for both. Yeah.
But my point with that is just like everybody's like quote unquote lake is different. And I don't know. A lot of times too, like the feeling itself is vague. I think
Yeah.
like that's something I like with my writing or like any writing is like a lot of times the actual feeling itself is super vague. Like you ever just sit there and you're like, oh, you know what I mean? I think there's got to be poetry for that too. Just that
Mhm.
like, and that's kind of what that is. It's just a general monotony
Yeah.
of things and just like how you perceive it. I wish you had poetry that you could pull up on hand.
I don't have like anything, but I can go through and find some stuff. I know I have stuff at home, but
Yeah,
I don't have anything like, on my phone because it's all like in
in the
actual
void.
like pieces of paper, you know? I know I have pictures of some of them, but like for me to sit here and find like you can entertain them for 5 minutes and I'll find you a picture.
We have three courses of action.
Okay.
I could read another one that I made.
Okay.
I could read a Robert Frost one. That's my favorite.
Okay.
Or I
You
could
could
just talk about random shit we find it. Do we want
you
to
want to talk
supplement more
you want to
poetry? Well,
you want to talk about why don't you do you have the Robert you know the Robert
I
Frost?
don't know if I could pull. It's good. Nothing gold can say.
Okay. So
Um,
why don't you pull it up and then why don't you read it and talk about it for a little bit? Well, I'll chime in obviously, but like I'll also look for my poem.
so my favorite poem is called "Nothing Gold Can Stay" by
Okay.
Robert Frost, and I'm gonna read it for you guys right now.
Awesome.
Um, Hi
Because we
guys.
don't have like too much time,
We
but
don't, but
story time. Go read your poem.
nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day, nothing gold can stay. That's my favorite poem.
Hmm.
Literally just about the fact that nothing lasts. Nature's first hue is gold. Gold, her hardest one to hold. Yeah, I feel like sometimes the best things just they don't last forever. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay.
No, I do like that poem. I like a lot of Robert Frost's poetry, even though it's super vague. But
Yeah,
yeah, I found actually the Icarus poem.
let's hear it.
My handwriting kind of sucks, so it might take me a few tries to say a few of these things. But yeah, I also don't know how to say his dad's name. I think it's Dantalus, but
That sounds about right.
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Okay, here it is. For, they like to talk about Icarus and his bravery to fly into the sun. But what of his father? What of the grief that he faced? What of the warnings he gave to Icarus not to fly too close to the sun? In to is his not the greatest testimony of courage? And when bro. And
Well, it's beautiful.
um,
It's beautiful.
okay, is his not the greatest testimony of courage and what he did all he could do to control um life, and still his one and only love fell from the sky? What of the look in a father's face? You what are the people you love falling through your fingertips and crashing into the ocean before your eyes? I don't think it was brave of Icarus to die, but I do think it was brave of Daedalus to lose everything and still survive.
Wow. Wow. I
I
love
can
that.
barely read it because it's
No,
my shitty ass handwriting.
it's okay.
Um,
I really like that. I thought that was beautiful.
but yeah, I like taking other stories
Well, that's also a different
and
that's interesting because it's another perspective, and I can apply that to anything in my life or anybody.
Mhm.
That's universally understandable.
yeah.
Like something happens, but what about
hmm
the guilt that other people feel? I don't know. I love that.
Have you heard of this poem? It's honestly, it's my favorite poem, but it's so dumb. It's called The Chaos,
No,
and
you got to read it.
it's by Gerard Knowles Trenti.
Who the fuck?
I don't know, but it's really, really dumb. But that's the point of the poem. And let me know what you think, like
All right, let me hear it. I'll
what
be
it is.
completely honest with
Okay,
you.
it's kind of long. Okay, but I'll read it. Okay. Dearest creature in creation, study English pronunciation. I'll teach you in my verse. Sounds like corpse or corpse, horse, and worse. I'll keep you, Susie, busy. Make your head with heat grow dizzy. Tear an eye, your dress will tear. Or shall, oh, hear my prayer. Just compare heart, beard, and herd, dies and diet, lord and word. Swords and sword, retain and Britain. Mind the latter, how it's written. Now I surely will not plague you with such words as plague and ague. But be careful how you speak. Say break and stake, but bleak and streak. Coven, oven, how, and low. Script, receipts, show, poem, and toe. Hear me say devout of trickery, daughter, lauder, and epiphany. Typhoid, measles, topsails, ales, exiles, smiles, revivals. Scholar, vicar, sigar, solar, meager, war, and far. One anemone, the mall, kitchen, lichen, laundry, lore. Gertrude, German, wind, and mind. Scene, menopause, mankind. Billet doesn't rhyme with ballet. Bouquet, wallet, mallet, chalet. Blood and flood are not like food, nor is mold like should or would. Viscous, viscount, loud, and broad, toward to forward to reward. It's a really confusing poem.
I like the play on words. I am sitting here confused as hell, but
It's really interesting
but
reading
what
it.
is the point of it though? It's beautiful
It's to
wordplay. What
teach
do you get out
English.
of it? Oh, it's
It's
not about like
what?
there's no underlying like
It's explaining the irregularity of
of
English
English. I
spelling.
love that. That's cool.
It's by an English teacher, who wrote this in the fucking 1800s. But
I
it's
mean,
be-
it's
it's
beautiful.
because the words, like there's words that mean such different things but are spelt so similarly. It's really cool to watch it on a page because the words look almost all
Yeah.
the same,
No, that's nice. It reminds me
but
of
yet each individual word is very different. It's a really cool poem to like study by looking at it. It's not a readable poem, really.
I like what it has to say about like play on words though. I
I
really like
love
that.
plays on words.
I
I
really
love
it
play on
reminds me
words.
of an Adrian Lenker song called
Uh-huh.
Evil.
Yeah.
Evol.
hmm
Literally the same concept.
I love plays on words.
And I can't pronounce everything here, so you're gonna have to
Okay. We're gonna have to wrap up in a little bit, just
after
FYI.
Adrian Lenker.
But I'm working on the show and there's a scene that takes place like in a newspaper room, right? And the name of the scene is called Pressure, but the way that the author writes it, which is a really cool play on words, is PRESS, press
Oh,
dash
because newspaper. I love that.
URE. And I'm like, to say the title is Pressure, but it's written as Presser.
Processor.
And I'm like, this is hilarious. And it's so informative of what's about to come.
Or even appropriate versus appropriate. I
Yeah.
remember we were having that discussion.
Appropriate. We saw a play called Appropriate,
Elle
remember?
Fanning. Can you please
Um,
marry me? No, I'm sorry. It's
And
inappropriate.
the opening of the play, remember, was the word, the
Appropriate,
definition of
yeah.
what appropriate is,
Mhm.
and it had like 6 definitions, and every single definition is explored in the play.
Yeah.
Do you
And
remember that?
at first that went over my head, but yes, I love that's an example of wordplay that I really like.
I
That's why I
love
brought
it.
that up.
Yeah.
Adrian like a
Mhm.
song. Love spells evil, EVOL. Backwards people. Words backwards. Backwards are lethal. Time smell. God damn it. Time smell. Time spells emit. Who can see it? Feel says leaf tips. East is sea spit. Touch, cheat, part, trap. You have my heart. I want it back. Good. Yo, God, dog, devil, lived. I can't. The giver takes take. I'm gonna start again. I'm so sorry, guys.
Let's watch Matteo read this
Adrian
song
Linker, what a
again.
wonderful songwriter. I can't. Love spells
Maybe
EVOL, evil, backwards people. Words, backspace words, comma, backwards are lethal. Time spells emit, who can see it? Feel says leaf tips, east is sea spit. Teach, cheat, part, trap, you have my heart, I want it back. God, dog, devil lived, the giver takes, the taker gives. Dream is married, I'm married in your mind. 4 words, 4 words. Can't we rewind? Speech spells each seeps, you say for keeps. To keep me, les a shell to speak through. Teach, cheat, part, trap, you have my heart, I want it back. It repeats. Kiss spells SSIK, the vacuum feeding. Words hold words from meaning. And then the chorus repeats. Um, Legitimately, you would have to sit down, break that one down for me. But love spells evil, EVOL. Time spells emit, who can see it? Shit like that just gets me going. I don't know.
I love wordplay.
It's amazing.
So we've identified things that we wanted heard in our
This
song that
episode
we're
was our
releasing.
sort of jerking.
Was our like brainstorming session for our music video.
Even if it's not
So-
music, just like an outlet for just like art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if we start like a slam poetry, yeah, we would fuck up an open mic night.
We would. Maybe we just go to an open mic night with our music one day. Maybe just write a song.
Oh my god!
Go
Wait,
to an open mic night.
something I saw, and it's a little corny, but I love it. There's a guitarist who plays ambient open chords while somebody reads poetry
Yeah.
over them for atmosphere.
Well,
Why don't we just do that?
I would love that. I just hate.
Why don't you just read poetry and I give you some
I
ambience and then
just
we play?
hate the word slam poetry because the only thing it reminds me of, you know, the video I'm talking about, where it's like the 3 girls. Oh, you've never seen this?
Which one?
Oh, there's so many of these like really shitty slam poems. Oh, okay then.
I'm sorry.
These like, I mean, it's not bad. I just don't fuck with that style of poetry. You know what I'm talking about?
I eat up every shitty form of poetry. I can't. I
Okay.
definitely can't relate. But
Okay, just talk for a second. Let me pull up this
I'm gonna
clip.
read y'all another shitty poem.
Okay,
5
we have
seconds.
like no
11
time.
minutes.
What's it called? Slam poetry. It's like the most famous one.
You ever look at your own shit and you're like, I can't write for shit. I'm looking through my own
Is it
writing right
this
now.
one?
I'm like, this is such a poor approximation of writing. This is, wow.
No, but there's a lot of these. Okay, maybe it's not this one. This is not the one I'm thinking of, but I'm gonna put it up to my uh thing. But I really don't like it's this one company called Button Poetry releases all of these.
Why is our fucking camera
The first day I realized I was black. It
Like
was
stuff like this.
That doesn't always work.
just learned about blacks for the first time in second grade at recess.
Oh, that's horrible.
It's chased me into the wood chanting slave. My mother said I refused
Why
to
is a
come
white
out for
woman
3
reading
hours.
this?
Said
Well, you missed the beginning part where they like swapped.
Oh, okay.
the first day I realized I was black. It was
This actually
2000.
like takes away.
Right.
Just learned about blacks.
It's a performance piece. A lot of these like are like performance pieces, and there's a lot more. There's like this one that these like it's like online. It's not it's not like a bad poem. Like it was about like assaults. It was like these 3 girls and a lion talking about assault. Um, and it got really memed online, and I feel bad, but like at the same time, I'm like, I just don't really like poems like that. I don't know. Like your poem should be able to. I don't know. What? What are you doing?
I've folded. It seems I've folded myself.
It seems that
Um,
you have gotten too comfortable.
I think
For
so.
our viewers have gotten like feet shots of you.
Please sell them on Foot Finder and Venmo me.
No,
But
I think they're gonna keep them on.
oh, please. Okay, so essentially, yeah, I hate like there's this woman on TikTok I can't stand her. Her name is Reagan, and her poetry that she puts out.
Fuck you,
Fuck you,
Reagan.
Reagan. But the poetry she puts out, she goes
Actually, yes. Fuck Reagan.
any form of
Any
Reagan.
Reagan.
No, she seems so sweet. Nothing against her, but the poetry she drops is just like, and he wiped a tear off my cheek, and then he cheated on me with 4 blonde women. And I thought I was pretty, but I guess I'm just not as pretty as the other girls. And it's just like, bro, shut the fuck. Like, honestly, like, there's nothing to your poetry. When you're complaining about when a man's snap score comes up in your poetry, there's a problem.
Yeah. What the?
Like,
I hate poems that aren't timeless.
timeless. Well, some of my writing isn't timeless, but then I won't mark it as a poem. I'll call it a journal entry. There's a huge difference between a journal entry and a poem. Like if you're like, and his snap score went up by 400
That's a time
while I
thing.
was sitting at home baking cookies. We don't care. We don't care. We don't really don't care.
The
And
thing is that emotion is present across other mediums,
you could have just used the other medium.
but you could have talked about something that's more timeless. That's why I really like relating stories because a lot of if there's a story that repeats over and over again, it's timeless, right?
Yeah.
Like any of these stories are timeless, and maybe you don't know all of it, but like that's why a good setup is explaining the story. I don't know.
I agree.
I think like the emotion, the prevalent emotion in that exists in other mediums. Have you ever heard the myth of Orpheus and Eurydice?
No.
Where she dies of something and he has to go down into the underworld and he's a musician.
Is this
So
not Hades Town?
This is Hades Town. That's
Oh,
what
okay.
it's
Yeah, yeah.
based off of.
So now I know what you mean.
It's like
Yeah.
that's what it's based off of. Is that not the same like
In a way,
story
yeah.
in a way of like when like was just described and you use a different medium to describe it, like a story that
Sometimes being too. That's
exists
why like
through
sometimes
time.
being too literal sucks. We don't want to hear about your snap score.
Like I don't care. There's like okay, I use Greek mythology a lot because I know a lot of it, but I'm sure there's other stories that like
Could tell these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, or make up your own.
yeah.
That's the best part. Make up your own. However, I will say the specifics in songwriting I do like. Like I like songwriters that are just so honest. Like again, we can't go an episode without
JP
mentioning
Sachs.
JP Sachs is a lyric. I don't miss my apartment ceiling 6 feet tall. My schizophrenic neighbor screaming through the paper thin walls. I don't miss my Lebaron, and whatever. I can't do it right now, but it's just such oddly human specific things.
Yeah.
Like he's complaining about the low height of his ceiling, and he's complaining about his schizophrenic neighbor. Like I'll eat that. I love that. You know what I mean?
hmm
And yeah, poetry should translate to music.
Well, he's explaining a story in it of itself.
Right.
There's
It-
still a story in there.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? It's
It's
just
beautiful.
a different. It's still time. Like it's still like something that exists throughout time. You know, like none of what he said is unique to him.
But I love that type
today.
of specific art. It's
Yeah.
different than no my snap score.
I think you like the timelessness of that
Yeah.
versus snap scores.
Even then, a Lebaron is not a timeless car. Like you could go back to 1800s, a Lebaron didn't exist. It still works. You could say my fucking horse carrier. Like you switch it out with something else,
Yeah.
and it could still be applicable. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
So it's still in a sense timeless. You know. You good?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like exploring the concept of time, and I feel like
No, I'm thinking about like how can we start
oh,
a slam poetry club,
this is slam poetry club.
or just any type of
Share your poems down in the comments. Share open mic nights in New York that y'all are going to. We'll pop
What do
out.
people do in New York? I made a TikTok and it's not it doesn't exist anymore. We took it down. But complaining about the lack of real artistic community in New York, everyone flamed me in the comments saying like, "Bro, you just don't have friends." I know that. Like I wouldn't be here on a podcast if I like
Yeah.
bro, if there was like you know what I mean? Like
But give us what you do. Slam poetry
what do y'all
nights.
do in New York?
Like, is there anything like that y'all go to consistently, or even not consistently?
Like what is the Yearners equivalent of the club? You know what I mean? Like what is the Yearners equivalent?
Oh, I'll tell you. something. I don't know exactly what it is, but I feel like you would love it. So I follow this girl on TikTok. Her name is Eli Raylo.
Okay.
Like awesome content creator, whatever. But she's starting this thing, and I think it actually launches like today, called the Prose Hose Literary Club, and it's definitely for women.
Oh, I love it already though. What the
It's
hell?
definitely for or literary salon. It's for women. Like I'll show you the branding of it. But like we would fit right in. I eat this shit up. I don't know exactly what this is, but she writes stuff. Like she did like a every like explaining how to journal and shit. This is the account, right? Literally
Okay.
awesome. It launches on the 10th. Today's the 9th, tomorrow. Right? And it's like up all night. And it's like don't like this is the type of shit that we be
Oh wow.
this is her when she's doing like a photo shoot or whatever, canceled plans, happy holidays, and look, it's like these like old like this is the shit we be doing. Like we be the TikTok, like the Tumblr equivalent of this. Like this is us, but men.
I love it.
And I love it so much. And I mean, like currently there's kind of no content, but I want to know what this is. But like she has a short film releasing tomorrow, so I guess today, 24 hours ago, called One Night Stand with a Book. Like this type of shit. We eat this
But I
up.
love this because I feel like there's not enough art outlets, and it makes me feel.
I'm not entirely sure what it is, but you should follow her and follow this
You
account.
send that to me. I'll literally.
And yeah, she wrote a bunch of books. She is really cool. Yeah, like she does like New Year's and like aspirations and shit. She does like the female equivalent of what we do. And she'll post like literally scrapbooks, like legitimately what we've been doing.
I love that.
And she has this new merch, her soft launch merch. We're just soft launch across a bunch of shit, but it's really funny.
I already want her merch, and I haven't even looked at her account. But
Yeah.
whatever. That's.
Oh, this is yours. Look, situationship spritzers and soft cover books.
I'm craving a good situationship at the moment.
Aspiring state. Oh, that's
I
okay.
really am.
But yeah, she'll just like post shit. She has like a billion fucking stories up at all times. Like, look at her stories.
How many followers does this woman have? Like, is this art being received? Wow. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And then she has even more on TikTok. She
Wow.
has like almost 2 million, which are just
My Shayla.
like so
My
many
Shayla.
fucking things. And she just writes and shit like advice. You need advice, and she'll give advice to random people. Friends of benefits with ex, bad blood, both are still going. She gives a whole thing.
Have you ever?
Like
Oh.
tips for moving in with your significant other.
I was gonna make a comment on being friends with benefits with an ex.
What?
What are your thoughts on that?
I don't agree, but
No, like I've experienced this.
we have to like wrap up, dog.
No, I'm gonna get this last thought
Okay.
out. 1 minute. It cut me off there for a minute and a half
Okay.
or so. It won't take that long, but realistically, so I've experienced this. The hardest part about being friends with benefits with your ex
Louder,
is the.
bro.
Can you? I'm sorry.
You don't project.
I don't project any as I get older, but like basically, the hardest part about being friends with benefits with your ex girlfriend, or I guess if you have an ex boyfriend, for me, right, is the public perception of it. I think was my worst part. Like y'all do be holding hands in public sometimes, and it's like my thing was always like, how do people judge this from the outside looking in? I'm like, I'll tell folk, I'll be like, this is my homegirl. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we broke up. It's just my homegirl. You know what I mean? And when I was younger, when I was like 16 or whatever, I was like, they'll believe that. They'll eat that up. Like, this is my homegirl, and they know that. And when I look back on a lot of my old situations, I'm like, people saw y'all like tearing at each other from in public. Like, they knew that just because you'd broken up didn't mean that that stuff stopped. And something about that to me is just so brutal to look back on. Like the lack of awareness that I had.
That you-
He's laughing because he knows he's seen it.
I also know exactly what you're talking
And
about.
I'm like, I've spent
and the person and everything.
months of my life just staying in the cycle of that. And it's like you look each other in the eyes, they're like, we're broken up, and they're like, yeah, but like,
Can I still hit?
can I still no head like
I think it's a great spot to wrap up.
We
this
gotta end this, but don't be
mini
friends with
episode.
benefits with your ex. It's horrible and it's embarrassing, and I've embarrassed myself with every person. I don't know how to end shit. Same way I don't know how to end this fucking episode. So thank you, Nikita.
We're gonna end by doing. What are we gonna end by saying?
Stay safe. Wear protection. Don't use that protection on your exes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry. I just...
Okay. We love y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Stay tuned for more shit coming.
You know when you play The Sims and you get the embarrassment meter?
That's you.
I'm like crawling
Okay.
into my skin.
Well, we're done. We'll see y'all next week. Bye bye.
Turning my mic off.
Bye, babes.